Alright, so in this problem, the trick is to try to rewrite everything as base 2 to some kind of power. So let's focus on this 1/8 right here and this 1/8. On the side, we're going to think about something. How can we write number 8 as power of 2? Well, we know that 2 to the power of 3 equals 8. And that's 8 over 1. But we want 1 over 8. So that means that 1 over 2 to the third would equal 1 over 8. But then 1 over 2 to the third, we can rewrite that as 2 to the negative third. So this is what's necessary to solve this problem. So I will rewrite this problem. So I'm going to keep 2 to the x here, and then instead of 1/8, I'm going to write, well, 2 to the negative 3. So 2 to the negative 3, but then all that is still to the 1 minus x, plus 2 to the 1 minus x, and again, instead of 1/8, I'm going to write 2 to the negative third, all to the power of x, and that's going to equal 1. Okay, that equals 1. Alright, so in the next step, I could actually combine these exponents here, but before that, let's simplify. So this is like 2 to the x times, and now we need to distribute. That's negative 3 times 1 minus x. So that's 2 to the x times 2 to the negative 3 plus 3x. And then we have plus 2 to the power of 1 minus x times 2 to the power of negative 3x equals 1. And now we use another rule of exponent. So we have same base here, we have 2 and 2, and it's multiplied. So that means we need to add exponents. So this will be 2 to the power of, and now let's add all these up here. So it's going to be x minus 3 plus 3x plus, and then we have the same situation here. We have same base 2 and 2, different exponents. It's being multiplied, so we're adding exponents. So 2, and then add all these. So 1 minus x plus negative 3x. So that's 1 minus x minus 3x. That all equals 1. Now let's simplify. We collect like terms. So we have x plus 3x. That's 4x minus 3. And then the second one, we have negative x, negative 3x. That's negative 4x. So we have 1 minus 4x in the exponent. All that equals 1. And now we're going to do our trick again, where we look at exponent rules backwards. So as a reminder here to the left, what if I had x to the 8th divided by x to the 6th? I could write that as x to the 8th minus 6. Now what I need to look at is looking backwards. In other words, if someone gave me this type of problem and said x to the power of 8 minus 6, I could rewrite it back as x to the 8th over x to the 6th. And what we do here, this method, we will use that to rewrite our exponent right here, this one. So if we have that that's 2 to the power of 4x minus 3, that means we can write that as 2 to the power of 4x divided by 2 to the power of 3. And we're going to use the same trick here. So I will rewrite these here as 2 to the first power, which is just 2, divided by 2 to the 4x. It all equals 1. Well, now we have a fraction. So we need to add two fractions. I will actually, well, let me use the right side here so you can have more space. So from here on, I'm going right here. When we add two fractions, we multiply the bottoms. So we're going to have 2 to the third power times 2 to the power of 4x. And then we're going to cross multiply these two. So we're going to have on the top 2 to the 4x times 2 to the 4x. So that's going to be 2 to the 4x squared. And then multiply these two. And that's going to be just 2 to the third times 2 to the second, 2 to the first, which will be 2 to the fourth. And that equals 1. Now I want to simplify, so on the top I'm going to have 2 to the 4x times 2 is 8x. So 2 to the 8x times, I'm sorry, okay, there should be plus here, plus, sorry. Alright, mistake. So plus 2 to the fourth. And then in the bottom I have 2 to the third times 2 to the 4x. It all equals 1. Let's say 1 over 1. Okay, now to solve the equation, let me cross multiply here and set these two equal to each other. So finally I get 2 to the 8x plus 2 to the fourth equals 2 to the third times 2 to the 4x. Okay, so now I'm going to do a little trick here, and it's called substitution. Well, first I will focus on this statement right here, and if I think about that, that's same like saying, okay, well, that 2 to the 8x, that's same like 2 to the 4x to the second power. And then if I bring this right side to the left, I'm going to make it minus. 2 to the third is 8 times 2 to the 4x. Then I have plus 2 to the fourth, which is 16, and I set everything equal to 0. Now I want you to notice that I have 2 to the 4x here, and I have 2 to the 4x right here. So what I want to do here is, temporarily, I'm going to call this 2 to the 4x. I'm going to give it another name, a variable name. I'm going to call it y. It doesn't matter, y, a, b, c, any other letter. What that allows me to do is I'm going to rewrite my equation here, and instead of 2 to the 4 to the x, I will just say y. So it says y squared minus 8y plus 16 equals 0. So this is a very sneaky way of solving equations. And now I have quadratic equation. I can solve quadratic equation either using the formula or factoring or completing the square. In this case, I want to factor. Let's see if I can do that. Now, refresh. If first coefficient is 1, then when we factor, we can just look at the last number. And I need two numbers that multiply to give me 16. But when you add them, they give you negative 8. Okay? So, if I think about that, what are the factors of 16? I have 1 and 16, 2 and 8, and then I have 4 times 4, okay, or negative 4 times. So, this combination right here, 4 and 4, that could give me 8, but only if it's negative. If we look at the first term, y squared, well, that's easy. There's only one option. It's y times y. And now there's going to be 4 here and 4 here. Both 4's needs to be negative. So negative 4 times negative 4 gives me positive 16, so I'm good. Negative 4 plus negative 4 gives me negative 8, so I'm good here. So I have y minus 4 times y minus 4 equals 0. And now I have to think, when could this happen? It could only happen if y minus 4 is 0. When is y minus 4 equal to 0? Well, let's find out. Y minus 4 equals to 0. That only happens if y equals to 4. So now we solved for y. But do not forget, we solved for y, but what is y? In the previous step, we said that y equals 2 to the 4x. So what I need to do next is say the following relationship. So y equals 2 to the 4x. So therefore, if y equals 4, then 2 to the 4x equals 4. Almost done. Now I need to rewrite 4 as power of 2. So I can say that 2 to the 4x equals 2 to the second power. And at this moment I can ignore my base and I can compare exponents. So in the end I'm getting a relationship where it says 4x equals 2. So if 4x equals 2, x equals 2 divided by 4, and after simplification we get our answer, which is x equals 1/2. This problem was pretty long. I suggest you watch it more times and do it, because when you practice problems like this, you practice many other math skills such as solving quadratic equations, factoring, substitution, and all of your exponent rules. Thank you for watching.